Hey guys, so I have been given this awesome opportunity to talk with y'all. My name is Jason Lookable. I am currently active duty Air Force. I do a lot of stuff in nutrition, but one of my biggest passions that I've ever had, to include what my current job in the Air Force is helping folks with leadership and life. So I have a master's degree in HR, but my current profession is as a professional military education instructor, which is basically just, I'm a leadership instructor for any of my non-military folks out there. It kind of translates into almost every single branch, but I teach the basic and the intermediate courses to help our leaders get prepared for tomorrow. And I've been in the military for about 10 years now, so I have a pretty decent amount of leadership experience. And because of my background in HR, I've always kind of had this inkling of what can I do to help people? If we can stay people-centric and focused, a lot of the problems seem to fall to the wayside because so many of our problems start with people. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to do, I'm going to do 2 series with y'all. And so if you hang out with me, I definitely take some Q&A along the way. If y'all got stuff, definitely reach out to me. I am here to help you in any way that I can. I'm not getting anything from this other than truly just the opportunity to help make y'all better. One of my mottos that I give to my students day in and day out is, I want to be a better person, so I constantly invest in myself to make you better people so that you can continue to make other people better as well. So really, this is kind of bringing that to fruition, talking to y'all, giving y'all a little bit. There's just going to be snapshots as I move through these. I'm going to start with something more so kind of somewhere between like a soapbox session and a casual conversation. These are questions that I have been asked, like, how do you avoid these pitfalls? So the very first series I'm going to walk through with y'all is called Leadership Pitfalls. And these are just things that I have noticed over the years. A lot of my young leaders, and even more of my senior leaders, have found themselves like constantly, as they try and lean one way or the other, losing that balance and falling victim to. So I'll definitely talk with y'all about these. And like I said, it'll be somewhere between like a soapbox session. So there's going to be some passion. There's going to be a lot of me just kind of giving y'all my experience and my true raw feelings on it. And again, this is just my responses to it. It does not mean that the way that you are doing it is wrong. It is just a different perspective. And that's one of the biggest things that I am all about, is giving and taking perspective. The more of them you have, the more well-rounded of a person you can be. So each one of these is, like I said, just going to be a snapshot. It'll be like 2 to 3 minutes long. So obviously, if you've got questions, if you want to hit me up with more, definitely feel free to reach out and do that. All right. So first one, destructive delegation. I got this question. Hey, how do you find the balance of delegating tasks? Because as a leader, you can only take on so much. So how do you find the balance between delegating tasks and delegating too much? Essentially, like, what's too much, what's too little? And Robert Half has a quote that I absolutely love. If y'all don't know who he is, he's in the HR world. Definitely look him up. But he has a quote that delegating work works, provided the one delegating works too. So basically what that all says is, when you're working too, delegating is going to work. This is where it kind of boils back down to that sheer premise of, are you showing them the way by leading the way, or are you showing them the way by pointing and going, hey, go over there? Y'all have to be in it with your people. It doesn't do anything for you if you're constantly delegating tasks without doing any work for yourself. Yeah, it's going to make your life easier, but it's going to make their life harder. And some of y'all may have been victim of this, where you have a leader that's constantly giving you task after task after task, and you find yourself at the end of the day going, cool, like, I got it done for you, boss, but what did you do today? So when you're on the other side of that coin and you're truly just like, all right, cool, I need to delegate some things, realize that delegation is a form of empowerment. When you are delegating tasks, it's not to just take things off of your plate. It's to help them get that responsibility and that sense of what is the next step. When you are doing anything in leadership, the goal is to make more leaders, not to garner more followers. And if your whole goal is, how do I get more people to follow me, you're missing it. It's passing right by you. So definitely recognize this is a form of empowerment. And And when you realize that, when that is the forefront of what you're doing, when you delegate tasks, you're going to have a certain person in mind and you're going to go, you know what? This would be great for Janet because Janet is really good at this. And this is going to show her what that next level of responsibility is. This is going to give her that opportunity to shine and flex that muscle that I know that she has. Or you know what? Jim would be great at this. I'm going to give him this opportunity. It's all about how you think of what delegation is. When you think of it as a way to remove responsibilities from yourself, you're wrong. So be careful with how you think of delegation. It can be a fantastic tool of empowering those that have just given everything that they can to you and chosen you as their leader. Recognize that leadership is a choice, or choosing someone as a leader. That's a choice. They don't have to follow you. They can follow anyone. So yes, empowerment. If you can remember that, delegation, usually, there's always exceptions to everything. Delegation will not go sideways because you're doing it for the right reasons. It's not about you. It's about empowering them. All right, y'all. So next question that I usually get is, I as a leader, I want to constantly be perfect. How do I achieve perfection? In this one, I'm not going to lie. I related to this one for so long. And there is a Vince Lombardi. If y'all don't know who he is, again, look him up. And I'm going to try and give y'all a little bit of a true quotes, more than just me, to let y'all know there are other people that are in this same boat with me. But Vince Lombardi says, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence. And in leadership, when you are constantly in the pursuit of perfection, it's exhausting, y'all. But if that's what you're going for and you're constantly trying to achieve the greatest version for you, your team, your organization, and you're constantly going for that, you will achieve excellence. You will have a certain level because you have folks that, and it's not necessarily perfection that they're chasing, but they're chasing a better version of what they were yesterday. And if you're constantly trying not to be the best, but to be your best, oh man, I cannot explain to you the performance levels and the commitment levels of those teams. When you set that vibe out as a leader of no, we're not trying to be the best. Will we get there? Most likely, but we are trying to give our best every day because that's what happens. Let's say you have this deadline, you have this tasker, and y'all are constantly giving it your best. You got a team of you and however many people, and y'all go for it every single day. And you're putting in your best and you're doing work. You did your best. Let's say it doesn't happen in the timeline that you wanted. I promise you, y'all will still have grown from it. You will still be better people because of it, because you did your best every single day. There is no such thing as perfection. We're human beings, and the human in me sees the human in you, and that's totally fine. And you are going to be leading people that are, guess what? Human beings. Let them be human. Let yourself be human, and let them know that it's okay to not be perfect. Definitely strive for excellence, truly. In everything that you do, why would you not want to give it everything that you got? But that whole pursuit of perfection thing, that's a pitfall that we fall into as leaders, where we beat ourselves up. We go, you know what? I'm not even going to try this ever again because I couldn't do it to perfection. Cool. It's okay. But you still tried. And that is more than what I guarantee you a large percentage of other people would have even done. So at the end of the day, don't fall into that pitfall of chasing perfection. Being in the pursuit of it, don't do that to yourself. Instead, you and your team show them that we give our best every day. And as you are going down that road, you're going to achieve excellence. I promise you that. All right, y'all. So the next question that I usually get is, what do you do about toxic leadership? As a leader, how do you avoid getting these particular things? And one of the things that I constantly tell people is be aware of yourself. There's a quote out there. It doesn't have there's a person attached to it. It just has that unknown. You can't change someone who doesn't see an issue in their actions. One of the most toxic things that you can ever say as a leader is, that's just who I am. That is truly the opposite of a growth mindset. That is the opposite of being open-minded. That is the opposite of free thinking. That is the opposite of every fantastic and beautiful thing about leadership. is to say, that's just the way I am. Because what it breeds is in those that are choosing to follow you, it tells them, you know what? Every once in a while, I can just default to the understanding of that's just who I am. And you breed this toxicity. And yes, it festers in them. And then that's just who they are. And then as they create leaders, there's that underlying truth. There is never anything that is just the way you are. If there is something that you see in yourself or feedback that you receive from your people that says, hey, you know what? Like, boss, I think you could work on this. Or you look at something and you're like, you know what? I definitely could have done that better. Don't default and go, you know what? But that's just the way I am. Instead, go, you know what? How can I do that better? Seek out the mentorship from those above you. Seek out feedback from those that are your peers, those are that you're leading. Get their feedback. There's nothing wrong with being humble and going, hey, what can I do better? The moment that you start to go, you know what? That might have been like the worst possible thing that I could do, but that's just the way I am. I get a lot of times with folks that are a little bit more aggressive or abrasive or like whatever you want to call them. You fill in the blank with whatever good, bad, or indifferent word you want to use. But they'll just be like, you know what? But that's just me. You can't do that to yourself. As a leader, you need to constantly be challenging yourself to grow. If you are not growing yourself personally and professionally daily, you're missing the mark. Set that goal for yourself. Do not fall victim to that toxicity that can easily ooze its way into your leadership style and be so detrimental to you and your team, because toxicity breeds toxicity. So avoid it. I promise you, you can do so much more when you just go, you know what? It's the way I've been, but I know I can be better. So definitely do not fall into that, because that's one of the biggest gateways to all of the other numerous toxic traits that are out there. All right, y'all. So for this next one, I don't really have a quote, but I did hear something a while back. I wish I could remember the individual that like instilled this into me, but it was so far back, but it got me straight to my core. One of the other pitfalls that we fall into as leaders is being nice. And I promise you, just bear with me for a second before you're like, nah, okay, we can be nice. That's not a bad thing. Just hear me out. We have this inability to be kind, because being kind is hard. Being nice is easy. I can see you about to do something silly and go, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be nice. And then they make a fool out of themselves and they come back and like, yeah, I saw that was going to happen. Well, why didn't you say anything? Oh, I was just trying to be nice. When you're kind, you have to call out your people and go, hey. In the military, it's as simple as going, hey, so you know that you got to wear a hat outside. You ain't got it. Like, don't go out there looking jacked up. Or maybe it's, hey, there's something wrong with your uniform. We take care of each other. That's being kind. It's a little bit harder. It takes a little bit of courage and a little bit of discomfort, because you don't know how the other person is going to take it. Being a leadership instructor, I'm constantly in this mode where no matter what your rank is, I got to be the one that's willing to step out there and go, hey, boss, I don't want you, I care about you is usually what I lead with, to try and make it a lighthearted thing. I care about you. I don't want you to go out there looking silly. Can I help? Can I help fix this thing? And because I'm trying to be kind, yeah, sometimes it doesn't always get received that well. And they're like, hey, well, that's cool. And they try and be a little abrasive towards me. And I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to help you out, my man, or young lady. Hope you're good to go. And then there are other times where I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I would definitely have hated to go out there looking a fool. Thank you so much. But yes, in leadership, a lot of times we fall into this niceness, and we feel like we've got to be nice to everybody. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. That's not what leadership is. Leadership is not being likable. Yes, if you are a good leader, you are going to be liked. I guarantee you that. But the thing is this: when you are kind, you are going to make sure that people care about you. You know what? I lied. Here is a quote for you. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. There you go. And what I mean by that is, truly, if I know that you care about me as someone that follows you, or that somebody that's in the same organization as you, and I see that you are kind to me and you're going out of your way and taking those uncomfortable steps, I might not like it at the moment, but in the long run, I'm going to see, hey, you know what? This person had my back. I didn't like it at the time, but that was me, not them. And I appreciate their kindness. You're definitely going to find that you are making bigger strides as a leader when you're being kind to your people instead of getting stuck in that mindset of just being nice to everyone. Being nice is not the same thing as being kind. So this next pitfall that I'm going to talk to y'all about, I don't know if I'm going to do a quote. I might not. It just kind of depends on how this goes. I hear a lot of times, and this could be a military thing, but I got to feel like this has got to have some parallels in the civilian world as well. I get a lot of people that are like, hey, you just got to play the game. I can't do it. And as a leader, I refuse to look at it as a game because people don't like to be played. One of the very first questions I ask a lot of my students is like, you can feel fake, right? And they always say, well, what do you mean by that? I'm like, when someone is not being authentic with you, you can feel that, right? And as I've came up through all of the different ranks and all of the different positions and titles and authorities and all the jazz, what have you, I've noticed that it's remained a universal truth. People can definitely sniff out what's fake and what's real. And so people respond to that. So when you're playing the game, people can tell. If you are ever going to treat people like pieces to anything, you need to recognize that these are pieces to a puzzle, not pieces to a game. In a game, your pieces are being used to benefit your victory. In a puzzle, the pieces are helping you achieve the bigger picture, and everyone is working together in unison, and one piece cannot exist without the other piece, and you can see the value in each one. Some are easy. Some of those corner pieces that you're just like, oh my gosh, this fits right here. I know it. I don't even need to look at the box. As the leader, you can look at the box. You know what the picture is supposed to look like. Your people, they're just the pieces that fit so perfectly into it, and they make it happen. You need to see them as something that is part of, not a means to. And we get so caught up in that, and we burn out our people, and we use and abuse them. And this is one of the worst pitfalls that I think that we can fall into as leaders, because we damage our people. Being Air Force, a lot of times I'll tell my folks, I'm like, you don't want to break your airmen. You don't want to break your people. You don't want to run them down, make them jaded, salty, just completely just turned off to anything that could be. You should never have someone that is under your leadership move on worse than when they came to you. That's one of the biggest detriments that you can have to you as a leader. And at that point, can you really even say that you are a leader? So you have to be very, very careful with how you view people. They are not pieces to a game. They are not cogs in a machine. Like, they're not just things. If you ever want to even remotely, and the thing is I don't ever refer to my people as pieces, but if people ever are like so fixated in that, that's what I tell them. If you're going to think of them as pieces to anything, they are pieces to a puzzle. They are not pieces on a game board. All right, guys. So here is the last really, really big question that I get. How do you avoid the fake it till you make it? Because especially my younger leaders are like, how do I just go out there and like just already be on it? Do I just fake it until I make it? No, don't ever do that. We just talked about that. People can feel fake. But the thing is a lot of times we are kind of like, well, then how does it work? It's called confidence and just persistence and dedication and motivation and inspiration and all of these things. And the thing is people will try and lead in a way that is not theirs to do. If you are not an inspiring person, then don't try and inspire people. They will come motivated and you will find other things. Maybe you're the person that is really good at pulling ideas out of their mind and making them feel like they're part of something. You yourself are not really great at inspiring, but you have a way of getting them to get you that idea and really give them that opportunity, empower them to put that into practice. Maybe you're the person that can just see people as individuals and go, you know what? You're not part of the pack. There's special stuff about you, and there's a way that we're going to use that special stuff to make you the best version of you. And you choose the type of leader that you are, and you just do that, and you do it with the utmost confidence, and you are as authentic as possible. Don't try and be someone that's not you. But so often I get people that are like, fake it till you make it. No. Do it scared for sure. Leadership should scare the crap out of you. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing easy about leadership except for the spelling of the word. Every single thing that people do in leadership is hard. I don't think you can look at any leader, anybody that has been doing this for a very, very long time and go, hey, what's your secret to success? And they're going to go, you know what? It just came easy. No, everything about this is difficult, never impossible, but difficult. And it requires constant persistence and dedication and the pursuit of making yourself better each day. Never fake it till you make it, y'all. Definitely be the type of person that is willing to go, you know what? I don't have all this figured out, but here's what I do have figured out. And then when you figure out the other stuff, you make yourself better. And don't ever just go, I don't have this figured out, so that's that. No, don't default to that's just the way I am. That's just all I got. Go find the knowledge and make yourself better. Remember, aim to make yourself better so that you can make them better so that they can go on and make better people as well. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that y'all got something from this series. If you've got questions, concerns, you want me to talk about some other stuff, definitely hit me up. I would love to go into any sort of conversation with any of y'all. If you have bigger questions where you're like, hey, could you talk about this? Because I guarantee you, if one of y'all got it, more than one of y'all have the same question. And I would love to take the time and speak to those particular things, whether they're pitfalls, advice, different things that I've experienced, stuff like that. But as I move into my next series, it'll be a little bit of changing gears. So this is the stuff for leadership. If you've got more, just let me know. All right, y'all. Take it easy. Much love.